would you like to do it after this? We said we'd love to. To put it in context without getting into all the details, one of the things you have to do is be physically signed off on by your physician. Because an emergency evacuation from Antarctica would cost $35,000. What? So it's not a joke when you go to Antarctica.
And it has happened. Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut, went there, had heart problems, and had to be evacuated. $35,000.
So we'll get through the slides, but again, this was something that Nancy and I love to do. We've done it not Antarctica 3 times. There are people on the Antarctic thing had done it multiple times, and they clearly were financially significantly up the scale compared to us. But we were very blessed to be there. I think you'll see some things that you'll enjoy. Hopefully you find a picture of something that actually touches those heartstrings and you talked about a little bit earlier. For us, we've been very blessed in different areas where you can actually feel the presence. And I think when you see this, what I try to do in the pictures I take is try to give you an environment where you will hopefully see that presence. And if not, at least experience it. Nancy, you know her as a licensed Unity teacher. She's also a marine biologist. I'm not a bad photographer, so I think you'll enjoy some of the pictures I take. But we're very fortunate in that when we do these trips, we try to take what we call the photo expedition. This is the National Geographic we grew up with as kids when we see it. There's actually a National Geographic photographer on board. This ship that you'll see once I go through it, I'll try to go through it now, this is not a cruise. There is no cruise element to this. This is an expedition. It's science-based. Our evenings are spent listening to lectures, which you can or cannot attend, and we'd love to go. We had a climatologist on board, someone who does the ice drill core samples. And they talked to us about climate change back in 2017. I wrote them down, they're probably written down somewhere, but I don't remember the numbers very well, but basically what it was saying was in the next 50 years, our water level will go up 3 feet. In the next 150 years, it's going to go up 12 feet if we don't do something.
So Florida will be underwater if we're not doing something.
So, and we'll get to it right away. Yes, the planet is warming. Everyone says the planet is warming. That is correct. The planet is warming. That's the cycle we're in right now. The difference is, this is the rate, we're doing the clock, this is the rate that the planet is warming. Humans have made the rate do this. Okay? So what we're trying to do is bring that back down. And there's still a chance. Okay, so I will bounce back and forth. First of all, let's get all based on what is Antarctica. Everyone knows the North Pole, knows the Arctic, but the Arctic is not a continent. It's a bunch of ice. Antarctica is a continent. You're going to see gorgeous mountains and all kinds of features. Our trip took us from Midland down to Buenos Aires and then to Ushuaia. Ushuaia is the very tip of Argentina, South America, and you can see the tail of Antarctica. And this picture here will actually get it closer together. It's slower on the display than it is on my laptop, so I got to slow down. So if I stare for a second, since I'm waiting for these updates, you can see that little connection. Did I turn it on? I guess the battery decided to die. Oh, there it is. You just can't see it. It's not strong enough. But you can see the tail of Antarctica. It looks like a manta ray. 2 wings and the tail. That little tail is what connects to South America. It's called Drake's Passage. Anyone know who Drake was?
Sir Francis Drake.
Remember him? There you go. It is the worst waters in the world. And the reason is, and you may see as an oceanographer by marine biologist can explain to you, is because the currents all come through there, and it's got this little opening so all the water goes through.
The currents in the world circle around Antarctica. And you get to that little space between South America and the tip of Antarctica, and it's that wide.
It also is why you'll see so many different creatures because the water is so rich in animals, in
krill, nutrients.
All kinds of things. So, go across it, and the Great Lakes is no joke. Okay? But the thing about this is it's constant. Now, you can actually traverse that Great Passage, and it's calm like a mirror. And then other times it's 45-foot waves. So our trip, which we took back in 2017, was about 23 days. It was in honor of Sir Ernest Shackleton. Does anyone know who Shackleton was? Very famous explorer, but more importantly, if you ever want to understand what being persistent and persevere is, it's to understand Shackleton's story. They went to the South Pole. To get to the South Pole, their ship got caught in ice. They were stuck in the ice for like 90 days or something. They were stuck for like 3 years to get back. They sailed a little different boat all the way up to South Georgia. Long story short, they went back and they rescued all the people. It's an incredible story. There's a movie on it. But anyway, our trip, the National Geographic and Live that put together, was basically paralleling that. I'm not going to go into all those details. I'm just going to go into what you're interested in, which is Antarctica, and then what we'll show you is how the biology, we want to call that, changes as a function of time and temperature and latitude.
Yeah.
Latitude. All penguins all mixed together. You don't see the kings and the little ones. They're not. They're based on temperature and where they exist. And so that's part of what we'll see as we go through this. So there's a great passage. I think I've got a stop action after this picture. That's the ship. The ship is a double hulled. It is about. It's not an what do you call it? A ice clearing ship, but it can do about 80% ice coverage. And if Tony were here, he could probably tell you his Coast Guard background. It is not fun for me on these ships because I don't like hearing ships creaking and groaning, but they're made that way so that they can flex. And so whenever we were going across the significant waves, you can actually hear the ship, the spine of the ship going point, and you can feel it in the ship. So we were quote unquote safe, double hull ship.
And there's ice all over these waters. As a matter of fact, you can bring that up later? All right.
Okay.
Hang on.
Hang on. We had access to the whole ship. That's the
Bridge.
Bridge. Everything's digital. The next one's a stop action photography. I don't know how it's going to show in the Zoom, but that is to give you some concept of crossing flight for us. Oh wait, that come up? That must be later. So for us, the first thing we noticed is we went to bed. When we went through the crossing, it was supposed to be a couple days. They actually took 3 because it was 2 storms, and they went further south. The neat thing about going further south is we actually didn't just land on that little peninsula. We actually landed on the continent, and you'll see that in a little bit. When you wake up in the morning, you find out that they broke the whole ship because you can't walk. You're just constantly moving around like this. So you'll notice we've got a rope through the hallways, down the alley, so you can get it. And what makes it even better is in the stairs, they've got a net at the bottom, so you fall over the stairs and you can get caught by the net. There's no elevator. It's a small ship. It's probably got about 100. We probably had about 120 customers, clients, tourists, and then there's about 140 crew.
Now, were you going to talk about the seas we had?
It's coming up.
Okay.
I thought I had it up. I must have not. It must not be showing. That's one of the things I'm concerned about is the application I'm using may not be showing some of these.
Okay.
We crossed in what was considered a scale of 1 to 10, a 3. And that was 10 to 15 foot waves. Okay, yes.
You take gravity?
I had my patch on.
I don't do well with motion. I did fine. She got sick and she can do roller coaster. So you just don't know. I slept about 4 pillows up to keep my head up. You know, the ship doesn't stop at night. Okay? And so the crossings that they've had in years past that we never experienced, thank you God. One of the naturalists was telling us back in the 90s they slept under their bed because you couldn't stay on the bed.
You get rolled off.
But he says he doubts very much we would ever cross in these days those kind of waves back then. This was the 50th anniversary. That's a whale. Whenever you're on an expedition, you're not in a cruise ship. So you see a whale, the ship goes, so you can go see the whale. And so here's a sea whale, S-E-I.
Say well.
And you can see that the white
on the jaw, and it's only on one side of the jaw. The whole bottom of its chin is not white.
anyone tell me what those are?
Orcas?
Orcas. Now, when you go to SeaWorld, and we've done a lot of the SeaWorld thing back in the day when they had orcas and stuff like that, we never saw orcas with their dorsal fin up. They're always like this, right? Everyone know what I'm talking about? Yeah. When you go to a place, I don't know if it's their environment or what, but these babies were happy campers.
What's the temperature of the water up there?
About 30.
30?
We went in the height of their summer, so it was like Michigan. We left Michigan, went down here, like, not a big
Middle of February.
It's about 32. It's about 32.
Middle of February.
But as many of you may know from things you've seen, Antarctica in the winter, no one's there. They all have to leave because no plane can land because the hydraulic systems in the planes won't function if it gets too cold. So the only people left are the ones that are assigned, and there's only one or two. You probably heard about that one guy did his own surgery because he was stuck there. He had to do his own surgery because they couldn't get him out. He had to do it with the camera, and the doctor's back here telling him what to do and stuff like that. That moves the thing. Yeah, they take everybody back home.
Yeah, because remember, this is Southern Hemisphere. Seasons are opposite. Our winter, their summer. All right?
So we got pilot whales that are swimming across, and these are just to give you a flavor. So you're on the boat, you're waiting for 2 days to go by, and you're normally be in your cabin now. You're running outdoors because they're telling you, go over here, we got orcas. Go over there, we got pilot whales. Go over here because you're seeing this. Or stay in your cabin for one of them.
Take pick.
Okay, here's our first experience of a winged critter. Anyone tell me what that is? An albatross. Very good. You know what the weirdest thing about albatrosses are, especially pictures when you don't have a frame of reference? Nancy, can you stand up?
Yes. You gonna walk?
Yep. You stay right there.
I'll stand right here.
Okay.
Guess on a wingspan.
8 feet. Stop. What?
It's 11 to 12 feet.
Wow, really?
Wow.
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 No, I don't know that big.
And we've seen them up close and personal. It really is that wide.
Is it land funny?
Remember, albatrosses spend most of their time at sea. So the wings serve them well, but yeah, it doesn't serve them very well when they come in for a landing.
You can see one with its wings deployed.
How big is the body? Oh, wow.
You'll see pictures of the bodies. You'll have some frame of reference.
Body's about 2 feet,
A bald eagle has got like
7-foot wingspan on a bald eagle. Yes, it's bigger.
And then there's, again, all kinds of different birds. Honey, what's this one again? I can't remember.
Give me a minute. No, it is not a cormorant.
It's one of the other larger ones. So these
Skua.
a skua. No, that's not a skua.
That's not?
We'll move on. Okay.
All right.
So in theory, what was supposed to happen is we were supposed to land at the bottom of that peninsula. And what they do in every Antarctica trip is they take you up the peninsula. And then you go home. We went all the way to South Georgia to the Falklands and came home. So we did a triangle. Okay. The reason you don't go any further south is
Ice?
it's completely ice covered. You can't get there. But because we had to avoid these storms, thank God, the captain, he went further south. And so we actually landed on a little piece of the actual continent, not just the peninsula. So we can say, hey, we were actually on the continent of Antarctica.
Yeah, because that's like little islands in ice. The continent itself is rock, solid rock.
So here's our first landing, Scott Bay, Crystal Sound. And this is what you're seeing in the distance as you're approaching. So, that's probably 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning when you took that picture. And as you're getting closer, you're starting to see these icebergs. And, you're seeing them at a distance. You don't have a concept of how big they are. See, it's updating reasonably well. I gotta wait.
Yeah, you're all right.
But now you're starting to see something and you're going, that's kind of big. Now remember, on an iceberg, what's visible? 25%. So 75% is below the water. Now we are a double-hulled ship, but we're not dumb enough to go near icebergs. So we stay away from them. And you can see the little guys just floating around, and Nancy will tell you a little bit in a minute what some of the different ones are. But this is what I was telling you about before. Here's your mountain. So you beautiful mountains, it's rocks. There's actual land. It's just covered in ice. These are some that are getting closer to the ship. And again, I'm going to zip along.
Remembering that the ships are cautioned not to get any closer than 50 yards.
15 yards.
15 yards. Because what can happen? As the water erodes away at the ice in the bottom, it gets top heavy and flips. And if you're there, you'll get dragged under. Okay?
But you can see just gorgeous wind, melting, and water is what creates this beautiful landscape. You can see the layers of the ice. The blue, because of how the water freezes, it's quote unquote purer than what you would freeze at home in the refrigerator. And that's one of the
What type of water is that? Is that
Salt water.
drinkable? Salt water?
Salt water.
Okay.
And again, I'm going to zip to a lot of these. We'll slow down to some others, but just to give you a flavor. And this is all from the ship. I'm just standing on the ship, just taking pictures as we're going through. Okay. Unfortunately, you can't see them as well as you can on my laptop. So I'll try to turn my laptop if anybody can see it from here. You can see what they look like.
The blue is absolutely striking in person. It is cobalt to turquoise blue. It is lovely.
Okay, now, if you strain yourself very hard, I don't have my pointer, so I can't get the show.
The pointer might work better closer up.
Can you see that little funky, fuzzy little thing in the middle of that?
The little black
That's
dot.
called a zodiac. That's a rubber boat. That's what we use. And you'll get, I just left it out so you can see where they were in the context of that.
In the water there?
Yeah. Now here's a close-up. Hold on, here's a close-up. Just, if not, you don't have perspective. You don't know how big things are until you give perspective.
That was a boat you were?
That's
Yeah.
the zodiac. That's what we go in when we go to shore or when we go around.
It's an inflatable with a hard bottom.
And I must tell you, the first experience you have when you're in it, when you're going along, is because you're going over
Ice.
little ice pieces. You're going over. It fits about 8 to 10 people. That's our ship again. You'll see in a second.
There it is.
And then, so now we're getting to the actual, so this is the continent, okay? Basically a piece of land they're going to land us on and take us home. We're going to go back up north. These are our cormorants, our first exposure to a winged critter actually on land.
Those are
We're
cormorants.
familiar with cormorants. The only difference is they got blue eyes. I don't know how well you can see them on that display, but they got blue eyes. And then we have a little visitor, whale seals. Now we're in the zodiac. So literally, I'm taking his or her picture at water level, and so that's why it looks so nice and little person. And then here they are, those two persons you saw earlier. One was our expedition leader. They're waiting for us on the rock.
That's the
Actually,
continent.
And as we're going through, this is our very, very first and only sighting of the Adelie.
The Adelie penguin.
Now remember what I said, they're going to be based on where you are in latitude. So this is the furthest south we are, that's the Adelie, just the only one we saw of that species. And then it's giving you an expansive shot of where we are relative to the land. And then there's yours truly. This is what we would look like. We have if any of you have used it, it's the exploding life vest. So if you fall in the water, it pops.
It goes poof.
You don't have much time in the water. It's 4 to 5 minutes because of the temperature of the water.
It's 30 degrees, folks. You're not going to last in that temp.
Wasn't there a woman who swam a mile in the Antarctic?
There are some people with a higher tolerance. Most people won't last.
Right. The average individual, someone like that, is probably a well-trained swimmer, physically fit in shape, but the rest of us, not
It was
so
a
much.
while.
And you can see, you can come up and look at it later, the orange jackets we have on. Those are provided as part of the expedition.
We got paid, but they got it provided.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another shot. Okay, so here's a view of on our zodiac. So we're coming along. Oh, our first seal of some kind. And as you come up to him, he's a cute little guy. And a little closer, he's real cute. It's a leopard seal. He has a little boo-boo. And so he opens his jaws and shows you all his teeth. Now, you are in the wild. You are not at a zoo. Okay? So there are things that common sense dictate to you. You don't. On land, when you see the penguins, it would be easier to say that. You know, he's basically saying, you're close enough. Go away.
And if you've never seen their teeth are interesting. Most teeth are kind of a candy corn shape. No, their teeth are scalloped like flowers and interlock. You don't want to get in the way of those teeth.
And unfortunately, you know what they eat, right? Big penguins.
What?
Big penguins.
Oh.
That's their food. Again, this is nature.
Oh, yeah.
This is nature. Now again, if you look at the pictures, you can see all the striations in the ice from the wind and the water. The actual things you can't imagine.
Stunningly beautiful.
How do they create a beautiful little bridge like that? But we can't get any closer than 45 feet or 15 yards because, like Nancy said, if that were to roll in our little zodiac, we'd be in the
You're going under.
Okay, now you can tell them what type of ice. What's the different kinds of ice?
Okay, this is table ice.
This is pancake.
This is the pancake?
This is pancake
Okay,
ice.
I'll believe you. Pancake ice, flat pieces of ice that have broken off. Remember, we're in summer, the surface of the sea will freeze at a lower temperature than fresh water, but it will freeze. So these are just pieces that have broken off that we're weaving our way through.
The ones that you'll see later are called growlers. They're basically big pieces that when they go out the ship growls.
You can hear them on the ship. Clunkety, 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 clunkety,
And then
clunkety.
there's the icebergs, which we're going to stay away from. This is an example of you're in your bed resting, you're doing something, you hear the ship hit something, quote unquote, doesn't hit, and you get up to go look, and the ship is actually breaking its way or pushing that pancake ice out of the way.
So is it like an icebreaker?
It's not going to be like an icebreaker, but it's close enough because it does the same thing. It climbs up, breaks, climbs up, and breaks.
It'll work on the pancake ice. It won't work on an iceberg. Okay? It's not that sturdy.
Right. You can see that ice is probably 4 to 5 feet thick. So it's fairly thick. And they brought us out on the pancake ice to get our picture taken.
Yeah.
So you can feel what it's like to walk on there. Okay. So now we start getting into the fun stuff. So now our first stop, and like I said, we're working our way up that tail. We're going to work our way up that tail, which means we're going to see different species of penguins as you go. And you're in their world. I think Nancy said to some people, you can do anything you want as long as you stay 15 feet away from the penguins. You don't do anything to them. You don't go near them, you don't go near their habitat. You stand still. A penguin comes to say hi to you, and he comes up here, you don't have to move. But you don't go to that. So here's our first climb, and I said it was physically challenging as well as financially challenging. Remember, this is all ice. So I'm walking on ice with rubber boots, with 2 cameras, my pack, and it's got an elevation to it. It's not a huge elevation, but it's got elevation to it. No, by the way, everything's covered in poop. So I'm trying not to say
Penguin poop.
Oh, yeah.
So there you can see the ship in the background. That's how far away we came. And, panoramic view. This is a nice view of what it's like. I mean, you're literally surrounded by mountains. It's just gorgeous.
Does it rain in the summer or is it still snowing?
It's primarily snow. Any precipitation we observed was snow until
Sleet. It could get a little
higher
sleety.
latitudes. So when we got to South Georgia, it was raining. But in Antarctica at this time of the year, in February, it was still what we call
Sleet and snow.
Sleet and snow.
Frozen
This is a
precip.
little colony that I happened to see.
Yeah.
And there's your first Gen 2.
Gen 2 penguins.
Gen 2 penguin. You'll be able to tell their markings by the colors on their face and the feathers. You'll see that in a minute. So this one has nothing on his face. Other than that little white spot on top of his head. He's got an orange beak. These are the little ones, and they're dirty because they've been rolling around and laying down. And
Your babies.
That's how they rest. And this is actually me on the right-hand side. You can tell by the backpack and the ball spot. And this is actually taken by one of the National Geographic photographers. I can't remember her name, Susan. But I thought it was a perfect picture because she took that picture as I was taking that picture.
Oh.
So she took me as I was taking that. So just, for me. Now, I love these guys. There'll be better pictures. You can't see very well, but they, face on, look evil. Okay? They got those little eyeballs and those beaks, and when you're looking at them, they just have that little evil look to them. So if you ever seen the movie Madagascar, maybe with a grandchild or a small child, you understand the little penguins and the things that they do in the movie Madagascar. You can actually see that in these little guys. One napping away, little one.
Yeah, that's a baby, just a napping away.
And then two screaming, I'm hungry.
Mom!
But then you heard this guy. And just like geese, they've always got to look out. And so this guy is just making a ruckus, and when you go, why are you making such a ruckus? When you get the next picture, you see what Nancy pointed out earlier. On the right-hand side is a skua. S-K-U-A. They eat penguins. So they were just all making note that, hey, there's a skua here, and the next thing you know is they all go up to him. And they, wow. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Stay away
And
from the
there's
nest.
happy May.
So you see, they can get to them.
While we were there, we also got to see elephant seals. Now we'll make a disclaimer right off the bat. We would never been allowed to be anywhere near males. So any pictures you see of any elephant seal, not the other seals, the elephant seals, they're all females. Males are all out doing their thing. It's just not that time of the year. Breeding is done. There's no puppies for them. There are for the other seals, but we did see male on the other ones. And then here's one of the Gen 2s just walking along.
Happy feet.
And this one just cracks me up. The poor little guy, he's molting.
They molt once a
He's just got
year.
that look on his face like, Lord, please make this.
Please make this go away. Because they're not allowed to go in the water when they're molting. They'll freeze. They have to get all their feathers off so they don't eat for like 3 weeks.
How long is the molting process? How long is the molting process?
About 3 weeks, yeah. So from beginning to end, they don't get to go out.
So, and here I'm telling you about, oh my God, crossing that, and you see a sailboat, you go, man. So somebody crossed
the Drake Passage in that sailboat.
And that's probably, I don't know, I have a better picture than
I don't know, 20 feet, 25 feet?
It's about 35 foot. And again, some more pictures of this. So right now, try to move it along a little bit quicker and hopefully this matches up. Again, you can't really see the blues. If you look at my laptop, you have to be able to see it from here. You can see the colors better there.
Does it snow up there?
Absolutely, but not only here. Yes.
It does snow?
Oh, yeah.
Constantly.
Oh, yeah. All winter long.
So are the icebergs freshwater or saltwater?
All salt. Oh,
Salt?
Remember when water freezes, it excludes ice. So the icebergs are pretty much fresh water.
but the salt's in them.
Salt's in the water, but as water freezes, it pushes out salt. So the icebergs are pretty fresh.
So what happens to the salt then?
In the water. In the salt.
It concentrates in the water around the base of it.
So that explains why when I freeze chicken broth for my dog in an ice cube tray, it doesn't really freeze hard like a
Correct.
ice cube.
Because it has particulates, solids of some kind in it, and it's what's called depressing the freezing point. Freezes at a lower temperature
So now I get
than
to
fresh water.
I get to be the physical chemist, which I am. Remember back in high school, you learned about freezing point depression and boiling point elevation. So when you want to boil water for spaghetti, you put the salt in right away.
No,
No, you boil it first.
then you add the salt.
If you put the salt
It'll
in,
boil
water,
faster.
because you're elevating the boiling.
Wonder why that went that.
So there you go.
I came for a reason.
It worked.
Same thing with freezing. The salt compresses it. It smooths it out, and that's why you can't freeze.
That's why in an ice cream freezer, you put salt on the ice around the ice cream freezer because that'll make the temperature drop more.
I wondered that.
Hang around. We'd be
That was
family.
in the olden days, right?
Yeah, back in those olden days.
The pictures are not showing up in the color. Again, you can see the laptop, you can see how intense blue it is, a little different. And again, this is one of my favorites. This is very variety. And you've got the peak on the right-hand side, you've got the vertical lines on the other. There is life besides the animals. There's the algae growing in that mountain. You can't really see the yellow or the orange, but the yellow-green, dark green color. And again, this is that other side of that one I was telling you about. And there's the ship for perspective. You can see when I show
See
you
the
these
ship?
pictures and you look at it and you go, oh, that's pretty. Yeah, but when you put the ship next, you go, oh my God, that's thousands of feet.
It's like in the ship is in the middle,
You see,
on the right-hand side of the
Right.
mountain, that's the ship, it's over there. Wow.
okay, so now we're going up the Lumiere Channel, and again, we're working our way up. This channel is very beautiful, and you're basically covered on both sides, you've got mountains. So you're just going through that channel. The water, if you look at it, it's like glass. It's like glass, just very pretty. You'll see different things as you're going through, different rivers, glaciers, and we're done. Now, no one's asked, this is one of the pictures you can see the lifeboats. The lifeboats are covered. I asked our expedition leader, they did a nice job of you sitting there for dinner. They rotated different people around the different tables, so you meet a different person. And I'm talking crew. And I just happened to ask him, I said, hey, just out of curiosity, if we were to have a problem, when would be the first time someone could get to us? About 24 hours. So these are covered, heated type lifeboats, because you couldn't be in the water in a metal lifeboat and have some kind of warmth that you'd be in the water.
Stick to it.
Yeah, kind of like that tongue on the pole.
Okay, Port Lockroy. Did anyone hear Nancy say last week that Port Lockroy had a job opening for someone who wanted to be involved with penguins? Did you remember hearing her talk about that?
There's a station there.
Port Lockroy is this little place, this little rock.
Wow.
See that little house right there?
This is a whaling area, so there's the carcass of a whale. But here's a classic 1940s research.
One set huts.
Someone lives there? Someone lives there?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
only in the summer.
They got a gift shop. Nancy lots of stuff.
They have a gift shop.
They have, get this, satellite connection to use credit card. Think about that for a minute. Next time you're on after radio and you can't get a signal, they got a signal.
Port Lockroy.
But, Antarctica is not known. The Russians can scream all they want, claim they're going to drill tunnels and all that. It's their property. It's not. Argentina can scream bloody murder, this is my land. All these countries are signed the Antarctic Treaty, which basically is no one's. And so this site actually was one of the very first during the British during World War II, and they were there to monitor the Germans for the submarines and stuff like that. But while you're there, you've got the penguins.
Nobody
everywhere.
owns the Antarctic. No.
You've got the penguins everywhere, and this is our first. This is what the inside of the place looks like. This is now museum quality. People aren't really working like this, but this is what the museum looks like. That's an old sled that they would use, a wooden sled and stuff. And now, notice the difference on this penguin. What's different about them?
It's got a lot of fur, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
There's the
around
stripe. That's exactly
their
right.
chin, right? They're called chin straps. Very, very perfect word to describe.
Kind of like that. You've seen it on gentlemen when they have the beard just around the line of the jaw. That's called a chin strap beard.
These are the gentries again. If you look, life provides it for you. When we were driving here today, coming from Midland, getting onto 75 to then get off on
Wilder.
I'm turning the car and I go like this, and there is a red-shouldered hawk
Sitting right on the sign.
Sign on the terminal. So if you look, life will provide you. And so here's an example of a baby wanting to be fed. And so if you've seen what it's done, the baby will sit there and dock at the dad or the mom, and they'll open their mouth and they'll regurgitate the food. And you look carefully, you can't see it probably very well, but this little cube, that's the food.
That's a little krill.
And then here's one of those other evil pictures. And then it turns sideways and, oh, I'm so cute.
picture going around Facebook of a penguin's open mouth. And it said, you always thought penguins are so cute, but look at them when their mouths are open, they look like sharks.
Yeah,
On the inside, is that, I mean.
yeah, it's accurate.
I'm dead serious, I agree with you. So Nicholson Harbor is next, and again, remember, some of these places are going to be whale hunting in nature, which is sad that it was done. And the oil from the whales is very special. To this day, whale oil is used in certain applications in space for Apollo, for our current rockets. There's no replacement for it. They don't need very much, but you can't synthesize anything like it. Nature has done it best. This is Argentina. Everyone knows the Argentine flag and what we're going to look for. This is one of their
See?
research stations.
Blue, white, blue.
And here is where your whale carcass is left over. And in the middle of that are the Gentoos doing their thing. And then here, this is what the whales eat. This is krill. Looks like a little shrimpy thing, which is, I guess,
It is. It's shellfish, just like shrimp.
Is that found in South America as well?
that is why they're all there. Because the krill, what do they call them? Those big.
The krill feeding nets.
No, there's I don't want to call it.
Upwelling?
Yes.
Okay. Because of the way the currents flow around Antarctica, what happens is it causes all the bottom water to come to the surface. So what happens then is you're dragging up all these nutrients. Oh, and krill love that because they eat those micro mini little nutrients.
And then
Is it polluted down there? Is the
No.
ocean polluted?
No. It is very pristine.
How big is that?
Decent size.
That's a giant krill. What you saw in the penguin's beak is a regular sized krill. So what whales will go through with, these are the baleen whales, they're called, with all the fringe in their mouth. And they'll just open their mouths and wall and just scrape them all out of the water, close their mouths, squeeze all the water out, and swallow what they got in their mouth.
And again, none of these are left here as like, oh, let's make a museum piece. Let's put this piece here. This is left over stuff. They just decided to leave and left it behind. So this is one of their little whaling boats. And this is our first fur seal.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who've seen seals before, you should see some things that are different about these. And the first thing you should notice is look how teeny weeny their ears are. They're like little.
Wee bitty ears. But for that reason, they call them fur seals. They're not true seals. They're sea lions related. Okay?
And you know, they open up and they got cute little mouths.
Yeah, with big teeth.
Now, I have a telephoto lens, so I'm taking these pictures probably from here to the globe. So I'm not getting, again, I'm following that 15-yard thing. Later, you'll see some pictures where you go, how close were you? And then we'll talk about those. These are two males. You are in nature, so you're constantly going to be seeing teenagers act like teenagers. You see two males saying, I'm bigger than you, I'm stronger than you, and so they're going to constantly be doing the gyrations.
In toxicology, we call it testosterone
You
intoxication.
know, so they'll growl at each other, they'll slap their necks against each other. They're not really hurting each other just yet, they will later. Sierra Cove, again, and as you notice, if we're going further north, you'll start to see like maybe less ice and more little pieces, right? Pancake ice is kind of gone, big icebergs are kind of not there anymore.
These are all the little
It's starting to
growlers.
go warmer and warmer off. And then this is again another research station on the side of that mountain. So you can see there's smaller pieces now. It's not as frozen as it was before. But there's a growler. There's your first growler. And you can see it's a pretty large piece, right? 25% above, 75% below. Yeah. Double hole shape, so I guess we're okay.
It does give you a little bit of pause when you hear cloom, 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 all the way down the side of the ship.
I'm taking pictures on the
It
height
can.
of the ship, right? I'm taking pictures at the height of the ship, so you figure I'm 25 feet off the ground, off the water, and I'm taking a picture of that, and it's level to me, and it's still above. So you're talking 40 feet or more above the water. Oh yes, this is our favorite time.
Oh, yeah.
Sierra Cove was one of those situations where you just go, thank you, God. The whales were out.
Humpbacks.
They were all feeding. And when I say all, you've probably got 10 boats out there, And they're all got a different whale situation going on. We're not all one whale. The guys on our ship are naturalists. They're like BS.
Field biologists.
One could be an ornithologist, which is a birder. One could be a
Marine biologist.
Another guy's a plant guy. All kinds. They are the ones running the boat. And so the guy running our boat was from Chile. He was, and he knows Spanish, and he was an ornithologist. And so here is where we were with a whale. You can see the water. Nancy can explain it better.
I will.
So you see these what look like circular
Kind of rings in the water. Humpbacks eat krill. They work together to lessen the load of filtering and filtering and filtering. What they do is they work together and create from their blowholes what's called a bubble net. So they swim in a circle and let out a stream of bubbles. And basically you've just got all these bubbles rising to the surface. The krill sees that as an obstacle and they all get herded together in a circle. And that's those circles you see in the water. And basically the humpbacks go to the bottom and come up through the middle of that circle with their mouths open and just filter them all out.
So you can see he's diving down, he or she diving down. Right? Now, here's the problem. Where that one's diving down is where we were. Now, the ornithologist, when I said move the boat in Spanish, and rather politely, but then impolitely after a while.
Women down, both
they know we're here. They know we're here. I said move. So he finally did, and that's what happened. Now, fast forward 5 years. Did any of you see the video about a month ago out in California, near Catalina Island, of the whale landing on top of the sailboat? Right.
That's what would have happened.
I don't know, but I saw that video, and I'm glad I said what I said to the guy.
Yeah, because we're sitting in the boat in the little Zodiac, and we see bubbles come up in front of us, to the left of us, behind us, and he's like, move the boat!
Because you had fear.
Damn Skippy.
Yeah.
I'm a scientist. I have a hypothesis. I see bubbles, I see whale, I say move. Here's the mouth. Nancy's saying, so here's the mouth coming up out, finally.
Oh my, that one got swallowed.
Yeah,
Now,
pretty close.
how many of you have been to Alaska or know how to identify whales? What's that? Correct. Every whale has a different fin. So this whale, that's their fin. You literally can take their picture and say, this is whatever, and you will never
They
see
name
that
them.
marking again. They're like us.
They're like fingerprints.
They're like us.
They're all different.
They're all different.
Did you take that picture? That's amazing. It is.
These are all mine. I'm a fair photographer. And then there's a couple of them swimming together, and then here's a different one. Fin looks different, doesn't it?
So is that like algae or?
Yeah, that's their coloration.
Okay.
That's
Born
their
that way, or did that develop?
Does it develop?
It develops as they grow. But it is pigments in their skin, because otherwise it wouldn't be a fingerprint, it would change all the time. Right?
Oh, sure.
And you can see the barnacles on this one. Here you can, a little part there. Okay, so now we're going to Fort Point and working our way up north. There's a glacier out there, and this is that's what I've been looking for. This night, yes.
Excuse me, but how large were those whales? Do you have a
What
guess
is
of feet?
40, 50 feet long? I don't know.
Yeah,
Thousands of
35, 40, thousands of pounds. Thousands
It's a
of
small
pounds.
one, right? Just
Yeah.
a little one.
No,
Wow.
the
Orcas are about 10,000 pounds. So
our
go from
Zodiac
that.
is
These
probably-
are like 3 times the size of orcas.
our Zodiac is probably from here to the.
To the coat.
I mean,
Right.
you guys have probably been in one somewhere, maybe in a rubber boat or something. But that's basically what it is. Now,
I don't want to get into an arc. They're kind of like a St. Bernard. They don't know how big they are.
well,
You know? Ever had a St. Bernard try and climb in your lap?
as we're going further north, now what you should be noticing is less and less ice. Now we're just basically seeing continent. And sure enough, as we get to these guys, now we saw one chin strap in Port Lockroy. Now we're hitting the chin strap world. and molting.
Yeah. They were so sad.
Chin strap,
That's
redwoods,
That's
is
what
that
they
what they're
are.
called?
Yeah, chin straps.
See, that's that
Yeah,
line.
no, I see that.
That's what they call chin straps.
And are those particular redwoods only in that area, in that
They
place?
can be in other areas, but that's the area they're happy,
Okay.
temperature-wise. Have any of you been to the Sacramento Children's Zoo?
Yeah.
They have penguins. But don't put them on ice, because those penguins are from South Africa.
South Africa.
And they're warm. They want warm water.
You know, I used to live in Pebble Beach, and we didn't just go right out in Spyglass or whatever, and you see a sea of penguins. What kind of penguin? You know,
They would be more of a warmer kind.
Yeah, probably Magellanics.
Probably Magellanics.
Yeah,
You'll
they're-
see those in a minute when we get, see the reminds you, when we get to the Falklands, those would be the ones that kind of be like what you see up California.
Yeah.
Erica,
The molting process, is that an annual event?
molting? Annual.
And
Annual.
And then, again, I just took pictures of different birds, and species-wise, it's been 5 years. I'm not
I
gonna, just different species, anything you could look at.
Is
This
that
was
the,
my
is
first
that that
color.
dove?
My first color, no, it's not a dove. My first color was this algae, red algae, or whatever, fungus, or whatever. And you can start to see some of the seals. These are not fur seals, like Nancy said, sea lions. These are some of the elephant seals.
Hmm.
Now, what I'll show you in the next one.
See, no ears.
Okay. Now, why does it, again, science for you guys, you've learned a little bit. What's the white stuff coming out of their nose?
It's not.
No, come on.
Well, it is, but it's really, really, really salty snot.
That's how they drink salt water. That's the question. We can't drink salt water because we die. How do these animals drink salt water? Because they have the ability to remove the salt. So
And they
they're
basically
excreting
sneeze
the
it
salt
out.
their nose.
Really?
That's how they survive. It's not, they can't get fresh
Some
water.
get in the way of the snot.
They
And then
smell
here's the
bad.
little fur seal.
Yeah, you know why they smell bad? What do they eat? They eat fish. You know, and it's raw fish, so it smells pretty rank. Now
And there's
that is a fur seal. Yeah.
There's a little cute.
See the little ears?
So here's another example. We get taken to shore, and you basically get told, stay between that and that. So there's a glacier. You can see the little mass of people, and they're starting to separate and walk wherever you want. And I did the same. And I think this was my first time I fell.
Yeah.
Because no one explained to us the rules. And again, Hardy goes in, so I'll explain the rules right now. As we get to some of the other ones, you'll see a lot of seals, and you'll say, well, did they ever attack you? No, they don't. They don't know what you are. But the young ones see you as, oh, I want to prove I'm tougher than you are.
It's dominance games.
Right. So what they forgot, one little tidbit of information was, when you take pictures, if you haven't seen it by now, you never take a picture like this. You have a little kid, how do you take a picture?
You get down on their level.
Take a picture of a kid like this, always at their level. So when you're taking pictures of animals, you take them down. So I'm sitting there with this coat on, my camera, and I'm focusing, and I hear something behind me. Yeah. I turn around, and I'm like, grab my crap, and run like hell, and I fell. Luckily, I didn't break the camera, which is first thing. I didn't break the bone, which is second.
Just one was after you, or maybe or
I didn't look. I ran. It was
bit you?
all the no.
Or what would they have done?
Oh, they would have
It
bitten
would've
you.
bitten me if I'd
Yeah.
stayed.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
probably a mommy, because it was big, telling me to get the hell out of there. I got down to their level, which immediately removed that I'm bigger. And so the rules are, which I found out after the fact, when I said, okay, what's going on here? Wearing this orange coat, you look imposing, but what they tell you to do is do this.
Make yourself as big as you can make yourself.
And you have to do this constantly. So later you'll see, you just go like that, and you don't move. And you stare them, you go like that, and they kind of, probably, that would be my nervous point. Right there's like, don't get any closer, I'm running. Most of them would stop like maybe where Terry is or something, come a little bit closer, and you just go like that, and they back off. But they do make a lot of noise like a dog.
Once I saw the naturalist, there were 3 in front of him and they were getting aggressive. And he did this and then went right in their face, splashed, and then backed right off.
Is that for any penguin or?
No, this is.
No, this was the seal.
The seal, the penguins love you. The penguins are so cute.
The penguins are not threatening. The seal is like a misbehaved teenager.
Well, and in this case, I don't know what I did wrong. For all I know, I got down to take some pictures, and it didn't like the fact that I got down to take pictures of its baby or something. I just don't know. Because they don't know and I don't know. After that, I got smart.
Yeah.
But this is like, we're on this deep sea, it's all rocks, it's all heavy rocks, you can fall, you can trip, you can break. Our doctor, she fell and broke her arm. Now, when you think about it, okay, what's the big deal about that? Well, there's no urgent care. So fortunately, a little bit later, a couple days later, we ended up in a place that was a research station that had an X-ray machine that could then X-ray her and tell her she hadn't broken her arm. It's basically a little bit of fractures, and then just wrap it up. They don't have stuff. But anyway, when you land, this is kind of what it's like. So there's all the seals, Seal Beach. Now, common sense would say, what don't you do? You wouldn't go start walking in the middle of those, would you? Right. So you're okay. You're not going to get hurt. You're not going to get hurt. And when you got a telephoto, you can take all kinds of cool pictures. We'll see what it's
Scritching.
Just sitting like this. There's a school. And what was cool about this one is, can you see what it's on its leg?
Band.
Yeah, it's been banded. So that's how they track them and stuff. I think they want us to tell them. I can't remember if I told them. I said, yeah, picture. I found number 30 or whatever it was. What's the number on it? 030.
Yeah.
In blue.
And they track them. Everyone is very cooperative there. They spread information.
So there's who, and there's our little Gentoo buddy.
See, I'm just standing still. He's walking up to me. They're really, really, really curious.
Now, we're much warmer now. Okay, we're in a much warmer climate now. And they're so darn curious that, everywhere you go, the naturals will always have, the defibrillator, the medical supplies.
They bring along defibrillators, yes.
And everything else, and puts it on the shore, and what's that?
Check it out.
Well, the orange looks like that krill, so do they think the orange is food?
They peck at it, yeah.
That's what this one's after.
The strap, was
The
it?
straps.
Oh,
The little, the zipper thing, the zipper pull. He's gnawing on the zipper pull. I'm telling you. And there's another chin strap.
Yeah.
Now, some of you know from prior pictures when I showed Africa, etc., I believe animals have souls. To me, an animal's soul is through their eyes. And so you'll always see me take pictures of eyes. And so in this particular case, it caught my attention. And I'll have some better ones with their eyes. I had climbed up. This was one of the fun climbs. I got climbed up to the very top, and I just wanted to get a big panorama view. You can see all the people. You think, well, there's 100 people. Yeah, but you can spread out. So the people you're seeing, there's 3 there, 3 over there, and they're probably, 30 yards apart or more. And so you're not really crowded. You have anywhere you can go. This is a little bit of a glacier, and it was our first, I think it's called calving, whatever.
Calving,
when the
yeah.
ice starts coming down.
A piece of ice
So you
breaks
can
off
just
and falls.
catch it, it was after it already fallen.
do they have storms there?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Rainstorms like we have here?
You'll see one in a little bit, yes.
Oh,
Yes. In fact, I'm starting to get nervous. I was talking to Julie. I had to choose a different application. I'm worried that this application is not showing some of the videos I have. I haven't seen a single video yet. So I'm going to stop this for a second. And I'm going to choose a different application. So things are going to disappear for a second. I'm not happy with it. I'm not seeing some of the videos I wanted to show. So let me get there. So if we missed this one.
Anybody have any plates you want me to take while I'm here?
5 minutes.
Yeah, if anybody wants to take 5 minutes, feel free. Julie, is that Sharon?
Good job, Jill.
Thank you. Just absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
It's not plain, it's just.
Oh, well, that's disturbing.
Yeah, it is. It's because I chose to do it this way.
You know why?
Are you on mute?
I'm muted.
Okay, what's clear?
I'm muted. Not my microphone, but the speakers are muted.
Okay, that's the plan.
Can't get it to do it.
I can now.
Oh. Yep. Want me to call him back in?
Oh, yeah. You can call, give him a chance to get some stuff.
All right, technical things overcome.
Is there a microphone open?
Tear it down, or there's, it has to come down, but it's really costly. And stuff in it, so we need to, yeah, it's pretty major task, so I don't even know where. And I'm just got too much to worry about it till the spring.
Yeah.
Try and have Julie on that. There's no sound on this one. There's no sound.
Got a lot of nice wood.
Okay, we're good. All right.
That's definitely gonna save that wood, or try to get someone to help you want some of the wood, or I don't know, but.
We're coming.
I'll think about it over the winter when I'm older and see the snow fly.
Oh.
Yeah, what happens is when you play a lot, one of the biggest challenges with computers is always trying to get everything. You try to get different programs to accept all different file formats. But the one I want to use is running on Zoom on one of those. So I'm having to try to work around that. I think I've got a pretty cool solution. So this is something that should have shown up at the very beginning. I'll make it quick. These were the waves. So this is what it's like to cross it. It's stop action. It's not a video. It's stop action. So. And the water is hitting the bridge. Okay. First thing you should also notice is no one's on deck.
There's a reason.
Not allowed. Okay, so let's see where I want to go. Okay, so we'll X out of that one, and then we'll get to the other. Oh no, we're
You're okay. Just share.
Yeah, I want to go now to the video. I want to see. So you get to see. Yeah, still pictures are nice, but it's not the same thing as being there in person. So I want to bring up the one video right here. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we were getting it. Good. Okay. So this is where we left off. And I'll share it again for Julie. Julie's doing a fabulous job back there.
Yay, Julie!
You know what I should do is I should just share my desktop and that. And problem completely.
Yeah, if you share your desktop, it takes care of it.
Yeah, let's do that. Share my. No, I can't find my desktop. I'll just share it. All right. Should be coming up, Julie.
There it is. Elephant Island, Point Wild.
All right. Except now it's not. Okay. There we go. So this is a panorama. But basically, you can see the size of the ship to the mountain again takes place. And now we've still got the chin straps. And now we're going to South Georgia. And our first place in South Georgia is Gold Harbor, and it literally was a great name for it because when we landed, when we got there, you could see the rainbow.
Right.
Just happened to be there. Now, can you see a lot of fuzziness at the bottom, like on the beach area?
Oh.
You see them now? Penguins everywhere you look.
These are king penguins.
Now you can turn it up, Julie. Not playing?
Wow.
I wish you could hear it. It's basically.
It's a racket.
Is that a waterfall in there?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so there's no volume on this particular one. That's fine. You can hear it, basically. But everywhere you look, those are all king penguins.
How tall?
About 3 feet. About 3 feet.
They're one of the bigger species.
There's Nancy, little troop of them.
Yep.
It's just like birds flying. All of a sudden, you'll see one, then about 2 or 3 others hook up, and the next thing you have a little cha-cha train coming by. And so this little group of guys are just rolling by. There's Nancy talking over with one of the kings. King's behind her. Elephant seal, a little bigger now. Some more kings. And then, the nice rainbow in the background, too, the seals and the penguins.
What
This
is?
This is their mating dance situation. Basically, the male will start elevating its beak and making noises to the female, and there's the other male on the other side. Don't look at him, look at me. There's a couple. The male's in the back doing the whole dancing thing. The female's in front saying, "Save me." And then, as I said, I like to take pictures of their faces when they start getting close. Now, those beaks are about that big.
Did you say the seals eat the penguins?
Leopard seals.
Not the fur
So
seals.
those ones laying in the middle of those.
Those were elephant seals.
They're not eating.
Not going to go near them. They're happy little campers. It's the leopard seals.
If you saw a leopard seal come up on this beach, they'd scatter.
Right. Now, their beaks are about yay long, so when I'm taking these pictures, some of them were taken with smaller cameras, and it's all you realize, like, okay, you're a little too close. I got lens, I'm not looking real close, I need my eyes popped out.
Okay.
And then there's another fur seal. And then,
That's a neat picture. It looks like he's feeding the fur seal.
yeah, these are molting, but there's a difference about the molting that's going on. This was molting, but here's what you're going to find really interesting. You know what that is?
That's a
Exactly
baby.
right.
They're called oakum boys. And I don't know if anybody knows what the word oakum means. In the old wooden sailing ships, they used to stuff between the cracks of the ship to waterproof it a mixture of tar and wood shavings or grass, dried grass. And it looks like what's all over his body. It's called oakum. So these are the oakum boys. They're the babies.
So it's very similar to the other, you've seen a bald eagle, an immature bald eagle. They don't look anything like a mature bald eagle. Same thing with these. They will find any rock,
Any elevation at all.
and stand on it because I'm the top dog. So you see him standing on that
That's fun.
little rock.
I'm telling you
For
are.
those of us who are cat owners, they will seek the highest point at all times. Here's a video. Hopefully this one plays with sound. Hear that sound? That's the one you hear. That is constant. So when you're back on shore, that's all you will hear. Never stop.
Mom, I want some meat, Mom.
And you're surrounded by, thousands of penguins. And so for the first 10 or 15 minutes, you're like, good Lord. And then after a while, you just tune it out. It's in Andrews Bay. So this is, again, you have a rainbow. You might start to see, it's difficult, these pictures and display up there, that there's some fuzziness on the beach. You already know what that fuzziness means. This is the largest colony of kings in the world. They estimated they estimated when we were there, it was about a quarter of a million. So about 250,000 penguins. That gives you an idea of the height. So, about 3 feet or so.
Yeah, that was my walking stick, basically.
There's one that's finally starting to mature. You see that all the brown.
See some of the brown coming off him?
That was sweet, it's just.
And now we're starting to see grass, because South Georgia is at a latitude where you're starting to get, to your point, there's Catalina, from the area. But there's that, everywhere you look, it's just kings, everywhere.
How long are they babies before they lose their brown fur?
Oh, about 3 months or so.
Oh, that's all?
That's all.
Now you'll see a couple who are what we like to call the slackers in the group. Can you see how they're sitting? Anyone tell me why they're sitting like that?
Eggs?
Yeah. A little bit late. A little bit late to the party. They should have had their egg a long time ago. So you can see that's why there's virtually only a few. Everybody else is like, there's not.
Up and walking around.
They only lay one egg, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Occasionally 2, but mostly 1.
These are not the ones from the movie March and the Penguins. Everyone remember that movie that came out about 10 or 15 years ago? Those are emperor. Those
They
are-
look similar, but they're
those are
bigger.
the big guys. And that's where we can't go. That's middle part. Feeding. Give some food. The usual. And again, for me, it's just great to see nature.
Now,
And here's two of them. These two have said, okay, I like you, you like me, and they're starting to hook up.
Wait a minute, what were you saying? I'm sorry, someone had.
Are the babies brown because they have something that would attack them more than the adults or the cancer?
I don't know why they're
I don't
brown.
know why they're that way. That's a
I
great
don't know.
question. That's a great question.
Is that maybe
I'd
something
love to
like
get back to that.
Maybe they blend into the ground more? I don't
Could
know.
be. It could very well be.
Okay.
And then that's the picture you've been seeing all along. This is all. Taking the rest. And again, elephant seals, these penguins, hey, they're all buddies. They don't care. Nobody's bothering anybody. Cobbler's Cove. Now we're starting to get into a different area. You can see now no more ice because we are at a latitude now where there's
More temperate, yeah.
Now what's different about these? On the back. What's back? Can you see it? There's another picture will show it.
See, they have yellow and orange feathers.
Yeah.
Almost like winging back from their heads. They're almost like headdresses, yes. There you go. These are a different species. These are either, well, I think this one's a rock hopper, or is this macaroni?
I think these are the macarons.
Okay, there are 2 species that have the head feathers like this, rock hoppers and macaronis. The macaronis they're very long and beautiful. The rock hopper's a little shorter. I don't think they've got illustrations in that one.
This is the book you get to go on the cruise, right on the expedition.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're supposed to read it ahead of time so you can understand what you're going to see. I mean, when you're paying that kind of money, you kind of don't want to show up and go, la 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 la. I know what's going on. I'm looking for the penguin, but I think those are rock hoppers.
What is the average price of an expedition like this? 30 grand?
Anybody want to go?
30?
Sure.
I'm thinking 30, I don't know.
It's in that world. It's last time I checked, they now have broken them down to smaller and shorter ones to make it more affordable. But something like what we did today will probably run you in the low 40s per person. Per person.
Per person.
That's what I heard.
Sure.
That's why I'm saying it's not something everybody can do. We've been saving for years. It was something with our background that we wanted to do. And again,
Talk to TZ sometime. TZ's been there too.
he did it to a different group. My cost was different.
Ah.
So there's a waterfall. You know, there's seals in the water. These are now. I'm going to zip along a little bit. This is volcanic in nature. Okay, so you see the swirling in the rocks up at the top. Okay, so this is all volcanic, so you'll have all those, what do you call it, geological waterfalls.
Now, does anybody ever do any rock climbing or go up those
It's
mountains?
very controlled. That area, I bet they could, because it's only South Georgia. It's not like Antarctica. It's controlled. I can get control of that. This little guy.
South Georgia, the Argentina does.
This is I think the word is a pippin. It's a pippin.
It's a pippin.
Because of the ships that would go here, the whaling vessels and stuff, with rats, the rats got out, the rats ate the eggs, and the birds almost became extinct. So they went through a complete rat elimination. And so our naturalists, our ornithologists, was like in the seventh heaven because we've seen one of these, which means that they're starting to come back. They're starting to repopulate the area. And these are all the ones, you know, Nancy, I think these are rock hoppers. I think you probably are right. Those are macaroons. These are the ones that are jumping off the rocks and doing their thing.
Yeah.
Those are rock hoppers. And then, you know, one of those once in a lifetime pictures you get to take them actually coming out of the water.
Nice work.
Strongness, this is a actual whaling place. You know, they don't pack it up and take it home. So it's just from the 19.
It's abandoned, basically.
Right. This is one of those times when we finally got to meet our first little baby seal porgies. How many of you know what a porgy is like? Porgy?
Porgies,
Porgy
yeah.
dog,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know how they behave, right? Yeah. Imagine tons of them.
Run along, nipping at your heels.
So you're on the Zodiac, and you know there is no pier. You know, you're getting out of the Zodiac in the water. There's waves. You know, you're getting out. You've got nice boots and a whole bit. And these little guys are like waiting to greet you. And you don't want to hurt them, and they're not trying to hurt you, but you don't want to step on them either. But yeah, they're so darn cute, and they're always trying to prove that hey, I'm the boss. That's it. Someone asked about cement.
You said albino in there, or they just had a check?
No, you are correct. Very good observers.
And every mother knows her baby's crying.
So I'm going to zip along because Carrie did a great job of pointing out something. Again, just a lot of these pictures relate back to Shackleton. They literally walked, they landed on the opposite side of the island. They literally walked across the mountains, across the ice, throughout the whole thing to get to this place. And so they were showing us where they walked across and on. So those are these pictures. I'm just going to zip them along. But there are plants for the garden folks. There's beautiful plants, there's beautiful flowers, all kinds of stuff, you know, just beautiful vegetation, you know, because you're no longer in Antarctica. That was in the 40s. That was in the 40s. We were still wearing our orange coats, but it was in the 40s. But we probably pulled the liners out by then. And there you go. Isn't that a cute albino seal? Isn't that just wonderful? I can live her anymore. I can live her anymore. Because it's so easily observed. It's white.
Predators see it really fast.
Oh.
So it's really a bummer. That's what the biologist is saying. Yeah, it's really cute, but I can live her anymore. Because it's so easy to see. And you'll see a little bit later why. The other thing is, I didn't show the pictures. They're poop heads. They pick on them because they're different, just like us humans. So you can't really see very well, but he's got his mouth open and he's kind of doing his thing at him. And it's something.
Yeah, maybe they know that you're gonna attract predators.
That's right. Stay away from me.
You're
Yeah.
probably right. You're probably right. Stay away from me. Rivitkin is an actual whaling port. And you can see in the background the whaling ship.
They're still currently whaling.
From a photography perspective, those beautiful pictures you can take of all that, then you know think about what happened all those
Are
years.
people living there year-round?
What's that?
On South Georgia, yeah. People live there year-round.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. And so that's where they boiled them down, and there's a church. I figured you guys would enjoy seeing the Whalers Church. And everywhere you go, you cannot walk. Everywhere you walk, so if I'm coming around this corner, I have to think there could be a seal here. You can't just la 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 go around and you surprise them, they surprise you, you know what happens. Ryan Island, we had to walk up, and you'll see some beautiful pictures across. This is where there was an albatross colony. And again, these little guys hiding in the brush just scares the heck out of me at times. They were so cute, but you just never know where. This is an albatross community, so there's what the albatross looks like when they are
Nesting.
Okay, some more of those birds.
Pippins.
And then we'll see the harbor. So there's your elephant seal. A little bit of salt remains. There's a little twoffers.
That's the first.
Some more kings. And then your colony of seals. And as someone said earlier, see how they stand out? This is a completely different place. Completely different place. And there's another albino. So, genetically, there's always...
They throw it every so often,
there's
yeah.
a probability of finding them. Right Whale Bay. Okay. Someone asked me the question, did it rain, did it storm, etc. So we're pulling the Right Whale Bay, and the picture looks like it's stormy. It's not really stormy, it's earlier. But it's little waves and stuff. But within 20, 30 minutes, it turned into a monster storm. And the water was coming out of the side.
Raining sideways.
We were not allowed off the ship to go on Zodiacs. We spent about 3 or 4 hours here before the storm stopped. And what was the big deal about it is something called
A catabatic flow comes down off the mountain like a damn steamroller and just turns into this horrific storm.
So it was coming down, and so we had like 70-mile-per-hour winds coming this way. They wouldn't let us on shore until we had only like 20 to 30. So then they finally, because we're in these little Zodiacs, and they finally let us get into shore, went on shore, and got to see all the little. This is kind of our last place with the kings. And this is a small colony. I mean, this is a small colony everywhere. And then this is one of our biologists. He just decided I'm going to lay down for a little bit, and you lay down, and seals are going to come check you out. What are you? And the king penguin's going to come check you out. So now we go to the Falklands, and yes, the Falklands, where the war was, and all that good stuff. So
And yes, they belong to...
There's your albatross with 12-foot wing, which you never guess, just by looking at it.
It's called a black-browed albatross.
Yeah. Falklands are literally 2 islands, and they're separated. And so, what was cool here is now we're going to go back to your question, Jerry, about the
Magellanics.
For those of you who know, I'm a birder. I love hawks. So there's your hawk. And you'll see one later too. It's kind of cool about them. And then these are your Magellanics. We'll post a better picture of one. Maybe not. Maybe that was it. But basically, it almost looks like a white sea. And I think I have a picture of one. Let me see. But this soil is very volcanic. It's just black. penguins burrow in the ground. They live in the ground. So you can see his nest there.
And he wasn't very happy about us looking at him.
Yeah.
First time to see geese, ducks, whatever, all kinds. Because we're getting to much better climate. And oyster catcher. Everyone seen an oyster catcher before? And then the other island was. This was to see two colonies, an albatross colony and the macaroni colony. And you can see with these guys, they're a little bit different. The rockhoppers had a much greater amount of feathers. This one only has just a little bit. You see it now?
Just a little bit.
And then there's a baby albatross.
Oh.
Only a mother could love that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the baby asking for food. And unlike the cubes, this is more like a gelatinous fluid out. You can see it coming out of his mouth.
Yuck. Charming.
And then they cohabitate in a very peaceful way with the macaronis. They're keeping looking. They're living side by side, babies, whatever. They're happy. They're happy as clams. This guy just broke my heart. He just is like, oh God, get this. Man, please be done with this.
The feathers are coming out.
Yeah.
His ears are flat. Oh.
And then there's a different hawk. And the reason I took this picture is we had to walk about a mile or two, and I didn't put out my other camera, I forgot. And many times some of my pictures were taken with my waterproof camera because we had so much rain and so much bad weather. And this particular day, on the return, they brought a Jeep out from the local inhabitants, and they brought back some of the people in the Jeep. And I remember Nancy asking me, she told me later, the Jeep had no windshield wiper blades. Because these guys keep stealing them.
They like the rubber blades for some reason. They just keep making off with them.
We're going home, we're done basically. So there's another sea whale. And you can tell this by the dorsal fin. It's a really, frankly, for the size of a whale, really itty little dorsal fin. It doesn't really serve much purpose compared to the orcas that have those big dorsal fins. And we're coming into Ushuaia. So this is basically the little town in Argentina that borders Antarctica. And as we would say in Spanish, fin del mundo, which means